There are three approaches to creating a funnel. You can build a funnel from scratch, which I'll show you how that is done. You can use an existing template and simplify and simply update the content. Thirdly, you can modify the design and look and feel of an existing template with something called CSS, which stands for Cascading Style Sheet. This is a language that's used in creating presentations on web pages. Um, and if you're an advanced user, you have knowledge of programming, then you might feel comfortable in leveraging this feature to further customize your funnel page. So let's go ahead and begin. I shall now go into ClickFunnels. Um, when you log into ClickFunnels, this is how the homepage would look like. You click on this button on the menu bar, and then you click on Funnels. When you click on Funnels, you have this funnel page, and these are funnels that I have created in the past. And so therefore, what you then do is you click on Add New, and then you click on Create New Funnel. Then you click on the Create a Custom Funnel. You give it a name. You can leave the select group tag blank for the moment. This is simply for internal reference, and you can always come back later to fill this in. So therefore then you click on Build Funnel. So now what we want to do is, as you can see here, you have a number of templates that they provide you in ClickFunnels. We want to go into a blank template as we want to create a funnel from scratch. So we look for a blank template by scrolling down, and here you have it. You have an opt-in blank start. So you click on select template. It's running in the background. The page is up and running now. So then we click on edit page. So let's get started with creating the design. So this is the page that we intend to create. So let's go ahead and start with creating the header, and then we'll then go ahead and create the text on the left hand side with the bullets, and then we'll create the box on the right hand side with the input field for them to enter in their name and email address and to submit. So we'll look to create this page. So let's go ahead and do that. So this section has already been provided. So we want to then update this headline. And to do that, we simply place our cursor on the headline and double click on it. And the text editor appears. And then you simply highlight the text. And then you go ahead and look to change it to ClickFunnels free training. Now we want to change the font size to red. So you highlight your cursor on it. The orange box, which is the element box, appears. And then you go to settings. You click on settings. And in settings, you can change the font size. So let's look to increase the font size. And then you can also, as I mentioned, you can also change the text color. You click on this dark color, and then you select red, and the text changed. So we also want to now make this text bold. So we place our cursor on it, double click on it, highlight the entire text, and click on bold. And there we have it. We have our headline created. The next thing we want to do is we want to create the text on the left with the bullets. So what we need to do here is that we need to then add another section. So we add a new section. So to do that, you basically, the cursor looks for the green box, and then you click on add a new section by clicking on the plus sign. Then you click on full width, and then within a section we want to add two columns, since we're going to have information on the left and on the right. So therefore we then, once again, within the section, we place our cursor, the add new row appears, and you click on add new row, and then we're looking to create two columns. And then now we want to now begin to create the content and each of the columns. So the first thing we want to do is to create the headline. So within the column, we place our cursor, the add new element appears, and we click on it, and then we select headline. Now to change the headline text, you place the cursor on the text and you double click on it, and the text editor appears, and then you look to highlight the text, and then you change the text as you require. So for this design, we'll type in free training reveals everything you need to know. So that's done. The next thing we want to do is we want to create a sub headline. So to do that, we then need to add an element. So you place your cursor on the text, the orange element box appears, and you click on the add new element. And here we then select sub headline. Then we place our cursor on the text, we double click on it, the text editor appears, and then we then look to change the text. We want to add here, you will learn. Since we want to move the text to the left so that it's in line with the headline, we click on the left indent button here. And the next what we want to do now is we want to create the bullets. So once again, to do that, we need to place our cursor on the text we just created. The orange box appears. We click on the plus sign, which is add new element. And then in this case, we then select bullet list. The bullet list appears underneath the text, and we can then now go ahead and modify the text. So we double click on it. Let's first get rid of the bold in each of the bullets. Right, and then now we go ahead and modify the text as per our design. So we change this to how to create a lead funnel to generate leads. We want to highlight the lead funnel text so that it stands out. Then the next, we update the next bullet, how to create a webinar funnel to promote your course, events, books, software. And here we want to highlight the text webinar funnel. So we make it bold, and then finally how a cart and application funnel can help you sell your products and services. And here we highlight the text cart. I'm making it bold, and the text application funnel, make it bold. Okay, and now we want to maybe increase the font size of the bullets. So we place our cursor on them, click on the settings, and then font size, we then look to move it to the right. We just increase it a bit. Okay. So the left side is now complete. Now we want to work on the right hand side. So here, similarly, we want to create a headline. So we place our cursor, and we click on Add New Element. Select Headline. Then we place our cursor on the text and we double click on it. We highlight it, and then we change the text to sign up for your free training. Then now we want to create a sub headline underneath it. So we place our cursor on the text, we click on the add new element, and then click on sub headline. And the sub headline, we want to change the text. So we place our cursor on it, and we double click on it, and then we highlight the text. So we change the text to "We will email you the training right away." We want to make the font size a bit smaller, so we place our cursor on it, we go to settings, and then we reduce the font size a tad bit. Okay, and also let's move the text closer to the headline. So to do that, move this button to the left. Sounds good. So now we want to create the input fields whereby the visitor can enter in their name and email address. So what we then do is we highlight this text here by placing a cursor on it. We then click on the add new element, and in this case we look to enter in the input field. So we scroll down, we select input, and then we want to make some small changes to this input field. So we highlight it and we click on settings. So what we want to do is input type. We select full name, because this is where they're going to enter in the name. The text, we change the text that appears on the input field to enter your full name. We make this a required field. And then we go to the advanced section, and we want the text in the input field to be centered. So we click on center, and that's it. Now we want to create another input field um, for them to enter the email address. So we place our cursor on this input field, click on the add new element, then we scroll down and click on input. We make some adjustment to the input field, where we go to settings, and in the settings, in the input type, you select email address. The text that appears in the input field, we will change that to enter your best email address. We go to the advanced area and we would center the text. And there we have it. We're done with that. Then the next thing we want to do is to create the button in which the visitor to your page can click on to submit your information. So to do that, we will place our cursor on the last input field you just created. We click on add new element, and this time we look for button. So as you can see, we have button, so we click on button. Then we would go ahead and highlight the button by placing the cursor on it, and the elements box appears. Then we go into settings, make a few changes. So here, the set action, we click on it. Set action is to submit order and submit form. Can we go back? Then the text in the button, we change that to yes, send me the training. And then the color of the bottom, we would look to change that to red by doing this. And then we want to increase the width size of the button, so we go to the advanced section, and under button width we would select fill width, and there we have it. We have the button created. Now the next thing we want to do is we want to place a text underneath the button. So we then place our cursor on the button and we click on the plus sign to add new element. And in this case, we simply want to place a text. So let's select paragraph, and then we will place our cursor on the text, double click on it to change the text. And therefore we have the text. We change the text to say, you value your privacy, but never spam you. There we have it. And we want to move the text a bit closer to the button. So we go into, we place our cursor on the text, the orange box appears, we go into click on the settings, and then we move the top margin, we move this button to the left, and this gets it closer to the top button. Okay, this looks good. Then finally, we want to now place a box around this section. So to do that, you would go up here to the menu bar, you click on columns, and then here is where you manage the different columns that you have on your web page. And when you go on to each of the item, there's a blue highlight to tell you which area it affects. So the full column, as you can see, there's the blue highlight over the Clickfunnels free training text. The first column, that's the first column on the left, with the free training reveals everything you need to know. And the second column is a sign up for your free training area. So you go there and then you click on this button here, which is somewhat like the settings. And then when you're here, you go into advanced, and In a border, you click on full border. As you will see, we want to create space between the top and the bottom, between the inside text and the border. Create some space so that it doesn't look so cramped up. So to do that, you go back to settings, and then in the top one, you move this button to the right, create space on top, and for the bottom one, you select this button and move this to the right. And also, if you want to also provide some space on the left hand side, you would use this button here, and you see you can create some space on the left hand side as well too. Okay, and so finally, to finish up this page, you look to create a footer with your copyright information. So how you would do that is you would then look to create a section. So underneath the text you just created, you look for the green bar, you click on Add New Section, you click on Full Width, and then you click on, you place your cursor inside of the section, you click on the Add New Row. You're interested in creating, in this example, just one column, you click on one column, and then in there we can look to add an element, which is want to add a text. So you simply click on paragraph, you place your cursor on it, you double click on it, the text editor appears, you highlight it, okay, and then you modify it to say copyright brand all rights reserved. And if you also want to, change the background color of this area, you can have the blue box appear, and then you go into settings, and then in the background image you click on this button here, and then you go to background, and then you can select the background that you would like to add for that section to somewhat stand out. So let's say we wanted to add this background, you click on it, select it, and then you click on add image, and as you can see, it's been added here at the bottom, so this stands out a bit more. So there you have it. So the next final thing you want to do, you want to save it. You click on saving, you give it a title. So now it's saved. So then what we then now want to do is we then now want to create the next page. So you click on the exit button. So this takes you back to this page. And then we then click on add new step. You give this a name. So this will be the thank you page. And then you click on create new step. And similarly, you have a number of templates. You go up here, click on the opt-in, and you click on thank you. So you want to, this will provide you with thank you templates. And then here, once again, we want to look for a thank you template that is blank so that we can then create one from scratch. So you would scroll down, and here you have it. a blank thank you page, you click on select template. So the page has now been loaded, and then you click on edit page. So now we look to create our thank you page, and let me just remind you of what that would look like. So a thank you page, this is what we intend to create. It will have a headline, a sub-headline, this image on the left, the text on the right, and then finally a footer. So this is what we look to create. So once again, you place your cursor on this text. To change the text, you double click on it, you then highlight it, and then you type in your text. So we'll say, thank you for signing up. We want to make this text bold, and we want to change the color of the text. So we need to look for the element box. By placing our cursor, element box appears, which is the color in orange. We click on the settings, and then we go into the text color, and we change that to red. We also want to increase the font size, make it a bit bigger so that it stands out a bit more. So we drag this to the right, and there we have it. Then we want to then create a sub headline. So we place our cursor on the text. In this case, we click on the add new element, to click on the plus sign, click on the sub headline. This text appears. You double place your cursor on it, double click on it, you highlight it, and then you change it. Training sent to your email. Okay, now we want to make this training increase the text size and also make it bold. So to make it bold, we double click on it in the text editor, we highlight it and click on the B, make it bold. To change the font size, we place our cursor on it, the element box in orange appears, you go into settings, and then font size, you drag this button to the right, a bit bigger. We want to also move it a bit up, move it closer to the thank you for signing up, move it closer to the headline. So then we go to the top margin and we drag this button to the left. All right, and that moves a bit up. So this is good. Now we want to then create the image on the left and the text on the right. So here we need to add a new section. So we click on add new section. We click on full width. Then within this section we say we place our cursor in the section, the add new row appears, you click on add new row, and here we want to create once again 2 columns. So in the first column we want to add the icon image and make it large enough, so we click on add new element, and then we look for the item icon. So we scroll down, so here it appears icon, you select icon. Now the default icon is this image of a graph. This is not exactly what we want, so what we do is that we highlight it, we go into settings, we go into advanced, and then we click on icon picker, and then we select the icon we're looking for, which is this one. So we select it, and as you can see, it changes here on the left. Now we want to change the color to red, and we want to make it a lot larger so that it stands out. So we go back into settings, and we change the icon color to red here. We click on the black and we select red, and now the icon has changed to red. We want to increase the font size, so we would look to do that by clicking on this button, dragging it up. Now, as you can see, when you manually drag the button, the limit is 70, but then you can highlight the number field and you can simply type in a size. So we're going to type in 380, and there we go. It increases it up. It increases the icon and looks a lot larger on your page. So that is done. Now on the next section, we want to add a headline and also then add some text beneath it. So we place our cursor on the plus sign, the add new element appears. We click on the add new element as we did before. So you're getting the hang of it now. You click on headline and then you double click on it when you place a cursor, and you can then change the text. And change the text to what's next. And then you can of course underline text. So you click on this button here, underlines the text, and then we can of course increase the size of the text so that it's a bit larger. So you place your cursor on the text, you click on the settings, and then you increase the font size. You can also add an icon beside the text on the left hand side, and to do that you go to the advanced section, you click on the icon picker, and in this case we want to add a question mark so we can search for question. So this is the icon we want to add to the left of it, and then we also want to change the color to red. So we will go back to settings, and you see icon color, and you change that to red. There we have it. Now we want to add a few text beneath this in this section. So we go highlight our cursor on the text, we click on the add new element, and then we select paragraph. We double click on it, we highlight it, and then we change the text to say step 1, check your email for the link, watch the training. And then we highlight step 1, make it bold, and then we want to, yep, sounds good. And then we want to also, let's say, increase the font size. So we place our cursor on the text, we go into settings, and we say increase the font size. Okay. And then now we want to create a similar text or a similar format. So what we want to do, a quick way to do this is to simply duplicate this. So when you go onto the place your cursor on the text, the element box appears, and then you click on clone, and immediately it appears underneath. And then now we can then just go ahead and change the text. So we change it to step 2, and we say highlight it, and we say sign up for the free 14 days Clickfunnels trial. All right, and what you can also do is that you can also make this clickable, make it a link, which will take your visitor to the page whereby they can sign up for the trial. So you double click, you highlight this text, and then you click on this chain here, and then in here you put in the link in which your visitor will be taken to sign up, and then this text becomes clickable, as you can see, as it's highlighted in blue. Now we want to create some space between the what's next and the step 1. It seems pretty close together, so let's create some space, and to do that we'll highlight the step 1 and then click on settings, and then in the top margin we will look to move that to the right, some text there, create some space there. Let's do the same thing for step 2. So here as well too, we highlight it, click on settings, and move it to the right, create some space. Okay. All right, and now finally we want to create a footer. Let's say we want to add the privacy policy, terms of service, earnings disclaimer. You create a footer to add that information, and I can show you how you would do that. So once again, you need to create a section, a new section. So you look for the green box, and then you click on the plus sign, add new section. Want to add full width, and then we want to click on add new row and select one column, and then in there we will click on add new element, and in this case we will look for navigation of the I find it navigation. Here we go, and as you can see it will provide this text, individual text that you can then update. To update the text, we will basically look for the elements, and then we'll go to settings, and then there you can change each of the texts by, so link text features, we'll change that to privacy policy, and then you will add your link here. So that when they click on the privacy policy, it takes them to a page with your privacy policy. Similarly, for the text pricing, we'll change that to terms of service, and then you can add your link in here, and when it's clicked on, it takes them to that page. And then for the order now, we'll add earnings disclaimer. Okay, now you can always add more columns, so you have 3 now. You can add 4, a fourth one, or fifth one. And to do that, you go to the advanced and you click on this, and then you can select how many links you want to add. So now we have 3, so that's what we're going to leave it at. And then we can add another element underneath it to have some text with the copyright information. So we highlight this row, we then click on add new element, we select paragraph, we double click on it, highlight it, and change it to the copyright text that we want to include. Simply an example. And then, so we've done that. Now we want to move it a bit closer to the upper bit. So we place our cursor on it. The orange box appears, click on settings, and then we would move the top margin to the left and it moves a bit closer. And then we want to save it and give it a name. Yeah, thank you page. And then click on save. All right, so there we have it. Let's go back to the funnel page, clicking on this button. All right, so then now you have the two pages. You have the opt-in page, and then you have the thank you page. So I mean, you can see how straightforward it is to create these pages. So that completes the training. I hope you found this training useful, and bye for now.